All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. It's been a couple days since I've been on, I guess, and what I'd like to do is hopefully finish up this doggone program that I've been working on. And what I've decided to do, again, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, is to go back to the Employee Manager form, which now has, as you can see, a bunch of errors in it. I'm going to take everything that's in here and I'm just going to paste it right there. So I've got it in there. Then I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to try to rewrite this. So let's see. I'm going to get rid of everything that's in here, just everything. Rewrite it, put a bunch of comments in here, which will hopefully make it a little better, easier to understand or whatever. All right. So let's just take this from the top. All right, so we've got our, let's see over here, we need the models. System Windows forms, that's at least those. So let's just start right here. So we got our public partial class, FRM Employee Manager that inherits from forms. So let's talk about the fields that we're going to put in here. Type of employee form will be managing. So in other words, an hourly employee, a pieceworker employee, a commission employee, or a salaried employee. So this will be private, read-only, string, and it'll be the employee type. All right, next. Now, we've created this service class, so let's make a service, what's called a service layer. So private, read-only, employee service. Let's see. Thought I'd made the employee service. Underscore service. Well, I thought I made that server class. Don't we have this? There's services, and under services there's employee service. So let's see if we go back and we try to add that. Using pay, etc. dot services. Does not like that. Well, services is in here. I did spell it correctly. But it's coming up and it's telling me does not exist. Are you missing an assembly reference? I don't think so. See, it's not in here. It says the type or namespace services does not exist in the namespace PayrollEFCore03b. I think that's the way I spelled it. Yeah. There it is. We've already written that. We went over it before, too. That's 03b. I'm just double checking everything here. That's 03b. Well, this is going to do nothing but give me errors. So show potential fix. Generate class. No, I don't want to do that. No. Let's stop for a second and see if we can figure out what the problem is. All right, as far as I could tell, I had two versions of this open. I don't know why, but I did. So I am going to, I don't even know if I'm going to need most of this stuff that's in here. I'm going to do just what I said before, and that is I'm going to grab everything that's in here put it out here. So I got it in a different spot. There. Now I've got it in case I go back and need it again later. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm just going to go back to the top here. This even looks like a different file. Like I said, I think the one I had open was an older one. Don't know what the heck was happening here. So I'm going to go back up to the top. All right, and I'm going to get rid of everything, just like I said before. This is what, 600 or 700 lines, something like that. Just about 750 lines is now 14 lines. All right, so let's take this right from the top. All right, again, like we said before, type of employee, form is managing, i.e. hourly, piece worker, commission, or salaried. All right, so private, read-only. It's going to be a string. It's going to be what gets basically what gets passed in, and that will be the employee type. EMPLOYE type. All right, next. This will be the service layer. All right, private, read-only. Employee service, underscore service. Next will be the binding source. And this will act as a bridge between the user interface and the data. So private, read-only, binding source, underscore binding source, equals new binding source. We move this over a little bit so you can see everything that I'm doing here. There we go. All right. Let's see. This will provide access to the currently selected employee. All right, so private employee, put a question mark there, selected employee. All right. So those are my variables right here. Leave it up there for a second so you can see this. Again, you don't need to use those underscores. It's just kind of a common practice to do that. Next, I'm going to have my constructors. So public FRM employee manager. here we're going to configure the data grid view behavior. So DGV employee dot selection mode is equal to data grid view dot selection mode dot full row select. Okay. DGV employee dot multi select is equal to false. We only want to be able to select one row at a time. And as you always do, setup dot read only is true. Remember, this is inside of our constructor. So let's initialize the employee service. All right. And here let's set a default value for the employee type. So we're going to say here employee type is equal to nothing. Now what doesn't it like here? There's no argument that corresponds to this. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at employee service. Having a lot of luck here because most of it is not very good, to be honest with you. What it's telling me is there isn't anything that doesn't require in our employee service. Now I know there's one way to get around that real easily, and I'm not sure if it's the right way or not, and that would be to just do this. Copy this. Now I'm going to get an error because it's got two that are identical. Let's put nothing in here. And we'll leave this empty. Now that probably fixed that. Oh, I thought it would fix that error. There you go. All right, I'm going to have to look at that later to see. We'll see if it works or not later. So here's the other constructor. Holy moly. Oh, we haven't written that yet because we removed it. Okay, not a problem. All right, so we're getting this error on load employees because we have not written load employees yet. So let's write that right now. Public void load employees. This is going to load the data. Whoops. So let's just put a comment in here that says load data. All right. Okay. If string dot is, oh my goodness, what is going on here? If string dot is null or empty, employee type will just return. All right, if we get down to here, we have an employee type. So we will ask the service for employees of a given type. So we're going to say var list equals underscore service dot get employees employee type. All right. Now we want to bind to the user interface, more often than not referred to as the UI. So underscore binding source dot data source is going to be equal to this list that we just put in here. There's load employees. All right. Now we have to handle the data grid view selection changed event. All right, so private void dgv v employee underscore selection changed. Move this over again. And this will be object sender and event args e. Args e. All right, we're not done yet. So again, if the selected employee is equal to null, just return. Somewhere in here I put a selected employee and I put a capital M, as you can see. There you go. Fix that, which fix it down here as well. Okay, so if we get down to here, we do have a selected employee. So populate the common fields. So in other words, txt first name dot text is equal to the selected employee dot first name, and the txt last name dot text is going to be equal to the last name. Okay, that should make sense. All right, now match based on actual employee type. So we're going to need to do a switch on our selected employee. That needs a capital S, I guess. There we go. So we're going to have case hourly employee, and we'll just call it H. And for now, I'm just going to put a break here. Case piece worker employee, we'll call that P. And that's got to be a colon, not a semicolon. All right, and again, for now, we'll just put a break here. We're going to fill these in just a minute. Case commission worker, or commission employee, I should say. We'll call that C. Again, just break. And finally, case salaried employee S, break. Should be the only thing that's possible in here. So here, this will be label, what do we call these? LBL label 1 dot text equal, we'll just say here hours worked, and LBL label 2 dot text is going to be equal to hourly rate. We will put the colons in there. I think we had them in there before. There. Did I spell label wrong? Okay, and need a semicolon on the end. txt text box 1 dot text is equal to h dot hours dot toString. Is that hours worked? Yep. And txt text box 2 dot text is equal to h dot hourly rate dot toString. Okay, let's pretty this up just a little bit. Okay. All right. So here's our piece worker. Let's just copy everything in here. So this now is going to be pieces made, and this will be price per piece. And that will be P here and here. Don't worry about the errors, we're going to get rid of them in a minute. This will be pieces made, and this will be price per piece. Okay, so there's that one. Let's try to copy it again. And this is going to be commission, I don't know if we're going to have enough room, so I'll just put a % sign in there, percentage, and this will be sales amount. These are both going to be a C. And I'm going to get another error, but don't worry, we're going to get rid of it right away. And this will be commission percentage, and this will be sales amount. Okay. Now, finally, the last one. Now, this is going to be empty. So is this. And this will be S salary dot toString. Okay, that's everything. Finally, we have to display the calculated gross pay. We want to do that outside of our switch statement. So display the calculated gross pay. txt gross pay dot text is going to be equal to the selected employee dot gross pay dot toString. Let's make that type currency. Okay. Doesn't like something in here. Should that be a little g? I don't know. That did nothing. Okay. I'm going to try that with just calculate gross pay to string. Okay. Now we're going to create a new where are we for time? If I'm over 20, I'm going to cut it here. And I am. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to go back and we're going to build a new build employee from input. And then we're going to do our add, our update, and our delete. And hopefully we'll be finished with that. Then if we can get this to run, we'll be back shortly.